What job used to be prestigious but isn't anymore? Blacksmith. They were the town engineer, manufacturer, craftsman, and problem solver all in one. Now they are mostly just hobbyists. Everyone looks down on blacksmiths until your horse throws a shoe. Who's laughing then, huh? The farrier. Because business is boomin'. Yawn. That's so old school. I do all my horseshoeing streaming online in the nude now. Right from my phone. The app is called Clip Clop. My wife and her sister got their dad a handcrafted, forged, wood grill that he still uses. The thing looks like a work of art. Some people are able to make a living that way. This, like most trades that industrialization killed, they became artists and artisans. There's always a market for those. Flight attendant. Back in the 1970s, if you were dating a stewardess, all your friends were jealous. You're so beautiful. You could be an air hostess in the 60s. You could be a part-time model. But you'd probably have to keep your normal job. I'd say pilot too, in certain circumstances. You're a pilot? Cool. What airline? Ryanair. Oh. According to my 5 minutes of Googling, Ryanair and EasyJet captains are still pulling in six figures, in pounds. Ryanair can pinch pennies on everything else, but if pilots go on strike they're in trouble. Newspaper columnist and local news anchor. They used to be celebrities when they were the primary mediums people got their news from. New anchor for sure has no real meaning anymore. I know someone that is a local anchor here in my area. She treats herself like a local celebrity and thinks she deserves the attention, recognition, and catering of a major Hollywood A-lister. I knew her for about a year before someone told me what it was she did. I had no idea and didn't really care after I found out. I know a local news anchor like that. He even pulls the "do you know who I am?" line sometimes. No dude, outside your social circle nobody knows who you are. Even older people don't seem to watch local news anymore, they're all watching national cable news. If you have to ask, do you know who I am? Back when I was a kid in early 90s and I was staying in my grandma's village over summer break, the local news used to be announced by a guy who was beating a drum to announce all the people to come out in the street. Then he would announce local news through a megaphone, since most villages around didn't have a local TV station or access to any TV channels other than the national television. That guy was a local celebrity. That's wild. Working at a bank. I knew a guy who tried to commit suicide because he could never achieve his goal of becoming a banker. I used to work in a bank and that was the reason I was suicidal. My man was never gonna win this one. Before the credit score was invented, working as a banker was prestigious because you got to decide if someone got a loan or not. Everyone wanted to be buddies with a local banker because he could sign off on a loan and set the terms. How do you think Grandpa bought the house? Now individuals don't do that, algorithms do. It's absolutely still the case, at least with local banks. Being buddies with a loan officer can get you better rates and can cut many fees out. Travel agent. Finding flights, booking good hotels, knowing the cool places to go, how to get tickets to events, and how to pull it all together for someone used to be fairly useful skills to have. Now the job is basically non-existent apart from super high-end or specialty positions. Honestly, travel agents are more prestigious than they used to be, because once, it was accessible for all. Now, elites use travel agents for elite perks, lodging, tours, transportation, etc. It's just not known or available to normies. Edit. Clarity. Correct. My mom is a travel advisor. Everyone has rebranded to this, and booked a cruise for 10 people last year that was literally almost $1 million. The type of cruise you can't just go online and book yourself. It's a ton of work too, and she makes great money. What goes into one of these elite cruises? And corporate companies still have a travel agent on the books to just be the dude who arranges flights and hotels. So we don't use them anymore. But our corporate agent used to be outstanding and above and beyond just arranging flights. If a flight was cancelled, she was on it immediately and would rebook my boss before the airline. If my boss was delayed, the agent could look at the delay reason and she would be able to tell my boss to sit tight, or she would rebook her if it was something that would take longer, possibly cancel. I miss her so much. Printer, lithographic or various others, used to be an amazing career and essential to society. Since the rise of the internet and decline of printed media, the industry has died. Not that long ago, the spread of information was made possible through printers. Not anymore. It also used to be a respectable career for educated deaf men. The presses were noisy, and not a lot of hearing people wanted to deal with that. And then the invention of earplugs put a bunch of hearing impaired guys out of a job. Advancement of printer technology itself helped with the downfall as well. Now as long as you have a digital file, anybody at Kinko's can run a laser printer and make you full color copies. My mom owned a print shop when I was a kid, and the guys she had that could run those old 2-color presses, make plates, and operate all the different equipment were just as much skilled tradesmen as any carpenter or machinist. Kinda sad to see their craft become obsolete. Spice Trader. Edit. I was of course talking about reading actual spices. With the new movie, being a character in Dune is probably more prestigious than it has ever been. Gady Prime has entered the chat. The spice must flow. Working in academia. In a way, over last several decades, tenure tracks got way more competitive. Young scientists are now often overworked, underpaid and have uncertain future. No wonder that many leave the academia for private sector. Academia is the most prevalent multi-level marketing scam there is out there. Most people don't make any money at it. Edit. Apologies. This was a joke. As an active participant in tertiary academia, I actually came to a similar conclusion before, but it's more narrow to specific type of academia. If the only job in your field of study is teaching that field of study, you have a problem. There are 20 students and 1 professor. That means 19 of you will not be in this field after graduating at least. All 20 students are paying $10,000 a semester, but only 1 at most will ever make any money at all with that education. And everyone knows this. It is known when they are advertising the degree, trying to seduce more into signing up. It is known when they are hiring a professor to teach that degree. It is known when they are handing you a diploma and $50,000 of debt. The only way even those few lucky students will make money is if they can convince future students into the degree. They're downline. Only the top 1% or less will ever make money. But they still need the 99% to sign up because they're the ones paying for everything. I don't even want to call out any specific education pathways, because honestly this concept exists on the fringes of almost every school in academia. Yes, there are plenty of arts degrees this concept applies to, but there are also science degrees, engineering degrees, and even medical degrees that are too academic in nature to be useful in the job market. Always be careful out there. The Department of Education has abandoned you. We are currently in the wild west of academia. The only goal is accumulating as much wealth as possible, and the only rule is not rocking the boat. Thank you. This is the truth at the root of the joke. I have an arts degree, cultural studies, and a college diploma. The reality is that the degree has helped me get a job in roundabout ways simply because I have a degree, any degree. That gives me an edge over people who just have the diploma, which is more directly related to the field I work in. I don't think that's worth 40-60K on its own, but the studies were interesting to me and I wish I could afford to go back and get my master's. Nighttime radio DJ. They used to set what music was cool and not. They still do for me where I am. I still find a lot of new music via my local indie station, 93.9 KWSS in PHX. Local indie radio defined my musical journey and gave me a foundation for appreciation the deep, the dark, the weird. Radio DJs in general. That was a job I wanted as a kid. Now it's a computer playing all the music on a schedule and nobody really cares about DJs or even listens to radio. I'll admit I kinda miss hearing some of the DJs on Sirius XM on Boneyard or Hair Nation or 80s on 8 or 90s on 9. But I prefer listening to my own music. Teacher. I'm not sure about prestigious, but it used to be respected. I think they're still respected, but it's a hollow, almost fake respect that is just lip service. Like, the gap between how we talk about teachers and how we actually treat them is much wider than probably any other profession. The minute teachers start to talk about their salaries or working conditions and the threat of a strike is looming. That's when parents and the wider public tend to immediately turn against teachers. STFU about how much you make or how big class sizes are when you get summers off. The criticism heard every time teachers go on strike. POTUS. Perfect. Now it's just 2 old people arguing about who is better. More like 2 old people arguing about who is less bad. It seems like, at least I'm not the other guy, is just about the best that either side can muster at this point. I don't think that's true at all. I'm not a huge fan of Biden, but he's at least out there talking about policy, not comparing himself to Trump. Perhaps at least he's not the other guy is the best thing many Democrat voters will say about him. But if you actually pay attention to the campaigns, there is clearly one party that is focusing on the issues, and one party that is focusing on nonsense. Land surveyor. 3 of the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore were land surveyors, and owning property was a big deal, so people who could give you legal authority over ownership were pretty well respected. Now you make $12 an hour starting to dig holes, lol. It was more prestigious when you were surveying it to claim it for your king country charter colony self. Let's just say land surveyors were a little more colonial back then. Journalist. There are still some good ones, but for the most part they're mouthpieces for the highest bidder and or just making propaganda. I went to one of the best, most prestigious journalism schools in the country. Decided not to go into that career. Same here. I went to journalism school only to find out it's trending toward corporate mouthpieces and the work is low pay and 24-hour stress and you basically have to be independently wealthy or be extremely dedicated with a good support system to make a career out of it. Yeah, that's another part of why I haven't pursued it. I'm a good writer, and I'm passionate about lots of ideas. Turning that into a career sounds awesome, which is why I went to journalism school. But I have bills to pay, don't have time or energy to work a day job and also build a writing career from scratch that will make no money for a long time. Maybe that's a lame excuse. Would being an author be a good alternative? What's the worst response to "we're having a baby"? On purpose? In this economy? At this time of year? Localized entirely within your body? I said congratulations, with an inflection in my voice that presented it as a question, and she wasn't too thrilled with me about that. Yes, I'm happy, we want a baby. I of course knew the guy she was impregnated by as a total dick and the only thing they had going was a mutual physical attraction. Fast forward 4 years later and her life is predictably miserable. I told 2 of my friends together when we found out my wife was pregnant and one did the same congratulations thing because he didn't know if we meant for that to happen. The other guy answered before I could yes congratulations. What the heck is wrong with you lol? Whose is it? To the woman, is it yours? Do you know the father? Someone asked me yesterday if I have kids. It was my 4-year-old son. Any ideas on how to break it to my wife? Why? I had to stifle this reaction when some former married friends of ours got pregnant. They had been struggling with money, housing, kids they already had, and their relationship. It was a bad decision at a bad time, after a long history of bad decisions, and they expected us to be happy for them. All these years later, the tie decision cycle continues. My best friend and her BF just had their first. They are both wonderful people and have a very happy relationship. However, she doesn't work because she has not been able to find a good job since COVID. What's worse is they decided that he would quit his job and they would move across the country back in with her family to save on rent. So now, they have a new baby, live with her relatives and neither of them have a job. Yikes, baby are a never-ending cycle of spending. I don't know how people with no jobs could do it, rely on donations? Buddy of mine recently had his second. It's not my life, it's not my place to say so, but I really believed he shouldn't be having another one. So, to piggyback off of this just a bit, why do you think you're in a financial position to do so? Dislike when people think a child will magically fix their situation. Aren't you the person whose cactus died of dehydration? Dang, I didn't water my cactus last week. They need watering every week? I barely water mine every couple of months. Is this why they die? You're meant to breastfeed them every couple of days, I heard. How do you forget a cactus that long it dies? It can happen, to someone else. I would have never done that. Hides empty pot from college years. For dinner? No, thanks, I already ate. I had baby for lunch. I'm so sorry to hear that. My condolences. This. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and players. Good thing I got a vasectomy. Deuces. A friend of mine just had his 4th kid. It had been 5 years since his snip. Poor rogue. Depending on how the snip was done, the odds are significant, up to about 1 in 7, that it can repair itself. The kid might still be his. Well, darn, I should stop cream pieing all these young, fertile sugar babies thinking I got nothing to worry about. No, you're having a baby. What do you mean? We? We? Who's we? There is no we. In this economy? Definitely, it's the worst because it will genuinely give the soon-to parents an existential crisis. Oh. Could it be mine? Even funnier if said by a woman. Pure comedy. Who's the father this time? I have a sill. This is a valid question. Rude. But we have to ask each time. How many is she up to? 6 with 5. Savage. Are you going to keep it? This is apparently what Joss Whedon asked Charisma Carpenter, who played Cordelia, when she told him she was pregnant when they were filming Angel the series. When she said yes, he wrote her out of the show. Seasons 3 and 4 of that show were going down an utterly bananas rabbit hole, so Cordelia being written out for a dumb reason was almost par for the course. The 5th season went much better by upending the status quo entirely. Just in time for things to get thrown in the can. Good job all around. I'm going to buy some milk. My sister wrote my dad a Father's Day card when we were younger that said, "Thanks for always coming back when you went to get milk. I love your sister." When I was younger, my GF at the time woke me up to say she was pregnant. I sleepy responded, damn it, not proud. When me and my partner found out I was pregnant, we responded at the same time. He threw his hands in the air with a big smile saying I can't believe it, whilst I said We hadn't known each other long at all, and it's the last thing I wanted. Well, that one is now 3 and we also have a 6-month-old. Might not have been what I wanted, but it was definitely good for me and I'm thankful. You sound like you handled the situation like an adult. Hope your growing family is all you ever wanted and more. She just said it's the last thing she wanted, lol. So you weren't actually fat? It's only 8th week. Oh. But I'm sterile. Don't touch me, I am sterile. Why is a SpongeBob quote always applicable? It's even more versatile than XKCD. Best friend's face goes pale. And he keeps asking, "Are you sure?" I mean, congratulations, legit said this to someone before. Aren't you a little too old for that? Or the favorite, aren't you a little young for that? Are you actually gonna raise it or just throw it in front of an iPad? Of course we'd never spoil it like that. Used Chromebook. What are you, a money machine? Give them a flip phone and be on your way. Who's we? There is no we. Breaking Bad reference. I got another girl pregnant, so can we have a joint baby shower? Bro wants to spend 9 months on the couch. Wait, you got someone to F you? Ew. Hayuk. My one friend told me and another friend at the same time, and the friend receiving the news with me said, "Are you keeping it? 'Cause if not, I know a guy." Abortions aren't as expensive as you think, you know. Not if I push your eye down the stairs, we ain't. Yeah, everyone's having fun with it, but the actual worst would have to be something like that. Not if you miscarry, etc. Just quietly getting up and leaving the location, not like outside but like in the car and away. I know someone that did this. Did the woman cheat or something? Or did he do the leave to go get milk thing overtly? Nope, his 3rd kid with her. They were married. She did the reveal with a bunch of close friends and he just didn't say a word. Walked out, got in his car and drove off, came back a few hours later. I think you mean we are getting an abortion. Is it a boy or an abortion? I kid you not, my husband's brother told us he was going to be a father, at 20 years old, and my immediate response was, "What? No, get an abortion." Not my finest moment. My niece is a lovely girl and I'm glad to have her in my life. We had a vasectomy. Grilled or fried? I'll get the ketchup. Woof, you're the 3rd this week. Get in line, please. Nick Cannon. Human? I don't need to hear about your breeding fetish, okay? Are you sure it's yours? Congrats, your S was successful. For the very last time, I'm telling you kids, I'm not taking special orders for dinner. I made meatloaf and you are going to eat it and like it. Well, F my actual response to my wife 6 months after we got married. 15 years later, we lol at that story all the time when new parents ask us about our first. We get it, UF. What are you gonna do? Oh cool, my sister had a baby but it died. You win. That is absolutely the worst response. I'm having a monumental poo, but I don't go telling everyone about it. I said this to my auntie and she said back, there's still time to get rid of it. Aw, just like the card my aunt sends my mom every year for my birthday. No, thanks, I'm full. I would have chosen a more attractive person to have a child with, but we can't have everything, can we? Not necessarily. Miscarriages and stillborns happen all the time. Are you sure it's not gas? I'm sorry for your loss.